Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday fixed June 30th, 2026 for ruling on an application by activist and publisher Omoyele Sowore, seeking the restoration of his bail and the setting aside of a bench warrant issued against him. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, France on Wednesday announced its first confirmed case of Ebola identified on its territory, a doctor back from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is fighting a major outbreak. The case is the first of the deadly hemorrhagic fever identified outside the African continent during the current outbreak, which has also affected Uganda. It's also the first time Ebola has been detected in France. In 2014, during a major outbreak in West Africa, 2 patients were transported to France, but they had been diagnosed abroad. At number 9, Colombia finally broke down a stubborn DR Congo side on Tuesday to secure a 1-0 win that guaranteed their place in the World Cup knockout rounds. Victory in Guadalajara, courtesy of a 76th minute goal from Daniel Munoz, took them on top of the Group K with 6 points, to clear off Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal with 1 game to go in the first round. Portugal held 1-1 by DR Congo in their opening match, earlier hammered Uzbekistan 5-0 in Houston, with Ronaldo scoring twice. Colombian fans turned the Mexican stadium into a sea of yellow, vastly outnumbering supporters of the African nation. The South Americans, who beat Uzbekistan 3-1 in their tournament opener, dominated the early stages, peppering Lionel Mpasi goal. At number 8, operatives of the Ogun State Police Command have killed 2 suspected kidnappers and recovered a firearm, cash, and other items during a follow-up operation linked to the rescue of an abducted victim in the state. The command said the operation was carried out by its anti-kidnapping unit as part of ongoing efforts to combat kidnapping and other violent crimes across the state. According to a statement issued on Wednesday by the command spokesperson, DSP Oluseyi Babasheyi, the victim was abducted on June 11, 2026 at Ogbe village in Ogun State. The statement said that upon receiving the reports, the command activated its anti-kidnapping unit and deployed intelligence and tactical resources to secure the victim's release and apprehend the suspects. At number 7, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Aladoja, the prescribed and consenting authority for the installation of traditional rulers in Ibadan land, has installed 18 mogajis and 11 Baales at an event held at the Bakwe Hall of the Olubadan Palace, Oke Aremo, Ibadan. Speaking through the Ashipa Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Shalowuddin Amidu Ajibade, and the Ekenri Balogun of Ibadan land, Oba Akim Mobolaji Adewoyin, respectively, the newly installed chiefs were reminded that, as accredited representatives of Olubadan and the Olubadan in council, they should avoid anything that could tarnish the good image of Olubadan and Ibadan land. The statement was contained in the press release issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Chief Solomon Ayoade, after the installation ceremony. At number 6, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have delivered another major blow to transnational drug syndicate by discovering and dismantling a fortified industrial-scale clandestine methamphetamine laboratory operated by a Nigerian-Mexican cartel deep in the forest of Tapa village in Ibarakpa, North Local Government Area of Oyo State. The chairman executive officer of the agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Mawa, announced this while addressing journalists at the NDLEA headquarters in Abuja on Wednesday. At number 5, prominent leaders of the National Democratic Coalition, Colonel Tony Nyayem and Chief Ayo Opadokun, have rejected claims by former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar that leaders of the pro-democracy group requested an extension of military rule in 1998. The duo also challenged Abdulsalami's assertion that the late winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola, was not poisoned, insisting that his account of the events surrounding Abiola's death was unconvincing. Abdulsalami, in his recently launched autobiography, Call of Duty, claimed that some NADECO leaders privately appealed to him to prolong the military transition after becoming convinced of his commitment to handing over power in 1999. At number 4, the Kwara State government has commenced the training for frontline health supervisors across its 193 wards as part of efforts to strengthen primary health care delivery and improve health outcomes at the grassroots level. The training, organized by the Kwara State Primary Health Care Development Agency with support from the United Nations Children's Fund, is aimed at enhancing the performance of community health workers through effective supportive supervision. According to a statement issued on Wednesday Wednesday by the press secretary of KWS-PHCDA, Bukola Abdulganiyu. The two-day training, which commenced on Monday, brought together community health extension workers serving as volunteer health supervisors from the 193 wards across the state. At number 3, former Commissioner of Police in Anambra, Aderemi Adeoye, has welcomed the move to establish state police in Nigeria, describing it as a welcome development. President Bola Tinubu had on Tuesday transmitted a constitutional alteration bill to the Senate seeking to establish state police. The move is part of efforts to reform Nigeria's security architecture. Tinubu said the bill will also provide a legal framework for a dual policing structure in the country. It allows the states to establish and operate their own police services alongside the federal police. It is one of the many steps towards the establishment of state police amid the spike in insecurity across the country. At number 2, the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission has successfully conducted councillorship by-elections in 3 wards across Lagos State, reaffirming its commitment to strengthening democratic governance and ensuring effective grassroots representation. The by-elections were held in Ward C, Orimedu 1, Ibeju-Lekki local government area, Ward F, Bajulaye, Fola Agoro, Shomolu local government, and Ward H, Kayode Fadeyi, Odiolowo, Ojuwoye local council development area. Vacancies necessitated the elections following the unfortunate demise of the elected councillors representing the respective wards, which must be filed in line with democratic principles and the LASIEC laws. At number 1, the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday fixed June 30th, 2026 for ruling on an application by activist and publisher Omoyele Sowore, seeking the restoration of his bail and the setting aside of a bench warrant issued against him. Justice Mohammed Umar adjourned the matter after parties abducted their processes in the application. The court had on June 16th revoked Showore's bail and issued a bench warrant for his arrest after he failed to appear in court for his trial on allegations bordering on cybercrime and criminal defamation. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.